Hi everyone and welcome to a brand new video on my channel. Today we'll be talking about the young adult historical romantic fantasy The Legend of the White Snake by Singaporean author Cheryl Lee. It was published last year by HarperCollins and it's a modern queer retelling of one of the greatest classic tales in Chinese mythology. I won't be talking about the original legend though, but if you are curious about it, you can watch the short video that I found. Since I'm a bit of a history nerd, let me give you some context. The story is set in the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period in 10th century China. It was a short historical but chaotic era marked by political unrest and instability following the collapse of the Tang Empire, which ruled for nearly 3 centuries. The Tang dynasty is considered by many as a golden age in Chinese culture and arguably also the most important dynasty in Chinese history. So after the empire collapsed, it was divided in different states. In the central part of the empire, there were 5 dynasties that kind of followed one another, or one after the other, whereas in the south and the west, there were different states or kingdoms that are widely known as the 10 kingdoms, and Wuyue is one of them. So you definitely don't need to know any of these to enjoy the story. After all, it is a young adult fantasy novel and it is only about 350 pages long, so the author does not really go into detail about the historical context, but I think it's still fun to have a bit of background. But what is the story about? Well, it centers around Xian and Zhen, our 2 lovebirds in this magical sort of forbidden romance story. Xian is 17 if I'm not mistaken, and he is the prince of Wuyue. When he was just a child, a white snake bit his mother, and ever since, she's been living in pain. Her health is fragile and has slowly been declining, so basically the bite will eventually kill her. Xian has been trying to find a cure for years, but he has failed, until one day an oracle gives him the answer that he had been looking for. A cure can be created from a white snake, and the oracle also predicts that he'll find what he needs in the city of Changle. That is where he meets Zhen, the white snake that he is after. Zhen used to live in the West Lake, which is an actual distinctive landmark in what used to be Wuyue, but then he decided, or he rather swallowed a spirit pearl, a legendary gem that turned him into a spirit animal and lent him special powers, including the ability to shapeshift into a human. This is all he had ever wished for, to have the chance to live as a human and experience what it feels like. So he travels to Changle looking for work, and he is hired as a stable boy in the palace. That's where he meets Xian, basically, who is immediately drawn to him. Xian is so captivated that he makes him his personal attendant. This is a similar relationship to that of a master and servant relationship, but with the addition of more intimate duties, if you know what I mean. Zhen soon realizes that he's actually the snake that Xian is hunting or looking for, but he can bring himself to tell him the truth. And as they grow closer and fall for each other, the secret threatens to come out and ruin everything. And you can probably guess what happens next. I won't spoil it for you. Truth be told, the plot is fairly predictable, with just a couple of twists towards the end, but that doesn't make the novel any less engaging. It might sound a bit strange, but as a huge language geek, one of the things that I really liked that stood out for me was the way the author uses Chinese throughout the book. Every now and then she drops in Chinese terms, especially for clothing, which makes sense given the historical context or setting, but she also includes idioms and other expressions, sometimes even in the dialogue. She writes the characters in Chinese, adds the pinyin, and then provides the translation. For those of you who don't know, pinyin is basically the system that's used to write Chinese words using the Latin alphabet. I barely know any Chinese. Well, I tried to learn Chinese for a year on my own. It didn't lead me anywhere. But I love this. I love that she did this. In my opinion, it makes the plot feel much more authentic. And I also love the mythological and magical elements in the book. Needless to say, I gobbled it up, especially the romance part. It is corny, dramatic, and both heartwarming and gut-wrenching, depending on the moment, I guess. And despite what I mentioned earlier about Zhen's intimate duties, there are no explicit steamy scenes or anything like that, so don't worry if that's not your thing. The only downside for me is that it all happens in a very short span of time. Barely a month passes from the moment they meet and they are already declaring things like, "You are my soulmate, I'd do anything for you." I don't know about you guys, but that felt a bit unrealistic, even if it was a different time and they are young, so emotions and hormones are running high. As complaining is my favorite hobby, I am afraid that I have to point out that the ending felt a bit rushed as well. Everything wraps up very quickly in the last 50 pages or so, almost as if the author had tried to squeeze it all in, but she still manages to pull it off somehow, so that's great. Other than that, it is a delightful read. It even made me want to read Lee's first novel, which is Fake Dates and Mooncakes. So there's another book for my wish list. Have you read this book or something similar? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. That's all for now. I hope you liked the video and I hope to see you all very soon.